Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching.
Okay.
You've brought us a fascinating collection of translated excerpts,
I have.
and it seems like you're interested in understanding the core principles of Taoism
Yeah.
and how they apply to, well, lots of things,
Mm-hmm.
to leadership and self-cultivation and really existence itself.
Exactly. The Tao Te Ching is all about aligning with the natural order of the universe.
Right.
And these excerpts, they offer a multifaceted look at that.
Okay.
We see recurring themes of balance, humility, and effortless action,
Mhm.
but also some intriguing contradictions
Yeah,
that invite kind of deeper reflection.
for sure.
To start, the Tao Te Ching is essentially a collection of poetry and prose that explores the very essence of existence
Right.
and how to live in harmony with it.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
You've got all these different translations.
Yeah.
Were you hoping to compare them,
Well,
or are you searching for some kind of universal threads?
I think it's a bit of both, really.
Yeah.
I mean, each translation offers a unique perspective on the text,
Yeah.
but ultimately I'm drawn to the underlying principles,
Mm-hmm.
the core ideas that resonate across translations.
Okay, so what speaks to you most?
What speaks to me? I think initially it's the Tao itself.
Okay.
It's described as empty, nameless,
Right.
yet the origin of everything,
Okay.
like a wellspring,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
always flowing, always full of potential.
So that's the Tao, this unseen source of everything.
That's it, yeah.
It's like trying to describe the feeling of awe you get looking at a vast landscape.
Yes,
Words just don't quite capture it.
exactly.
And I'm seeing that throughout these excerpts, too. This
Yeah.
idea that the Tao can't be truly grasped or
Yeah.
defined, really,
Yeah.
but reveals itself
Yes.
when we align with its principles.
Absolutely. And you know, this undefinable Tao expresses itself
Okay.
through a constant interplay of opposites.
Right.
A concept the Tao Te Ching calls yin and yang.
Okay, so how does that work?
So it's about recognizing that seemingly opposite forces
Mhm.
are actually deeply interconnected.
So being and non-being.
Being and non-being.
Hard and easy.
Hard and easy.
Long and short.
Long and short, all connected.
That's where it gets really interesting,
right.
right? You mentioned being interested in multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
How does this idea of interconnectedness then
Okay.
change how you view things that seem at odds with each other?
It's a powerful shift
Okay.
to see opposing forces not as separate,
Mm-hmm.
but as two sides of the same coin.
Okay.
And speaking of shifting perspectives, the concept of wu wei, or actionless action,
Right.
is really central to Taoism.
So that idea of the sage who manages without acting
Yes.
and teaches without speaking,
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
it seems almost paradoxical.
It is.
How can we even do that?
Exactly. It's about achieving without striving.
Yeah, okay.
Effortless effort.
Effortless effort.
Yeah, think about a time you achieve something great,
Okay.
not by forcing it.
But by being fully present in the process,
Okay.
not fixated on the outcome,
Right.
that's Wu Wei in action.
That resonates with me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the best things happen when you let go of that tight grip
Yes.
on how you think things should be.
Absolutely.
And the Tao Te Ching offers us vivid imagery
It does.
to help us grasp this.
Mm-hmm.
One translation describes the sage as being careful, like crossing a river in winter.
Oh, I like that one.
That, to me, speaks volumes
Yes.
about approaching things with awareness and respect, not brute force.
Precisely.
Yeah.
This concept of not forcing is further emphasized in the text
Okay.
with phrases like, to be bent is to become straight, to be empty is to be full.
Whoa.
It's about recognizing that sometimes the most effective action comes from a place of stillness
Okay.
and allowing things to unfold naturally.
Interesting.
This idea of achieving without forcing, it resonates with the Tao Te Ching's emphasis on water.
Okay.
Yeah, it benefits all things without competing.
Always seeking the lowest places,
Yeah.
embodying the Tao.
Okay, there's that water analogy again.
Yeah.
It's so evocative.
Right.
Yeah, I find myself wondering,
Okay.
how can we become more like water
Right.
in our own interactions,
Yeah.
our own pursuits?
Mm-hmm.
What does that even look like practically?
Well, I think it's about,
Okay.
finding that balance
Yep.
between adaptability and persistence,
Okay.
knowing when to yield
Mm-hmm.
and when to hold firm.
Okay.
Like water flowing around obstacles,
Right.
yet ultimately shaping the landscape over time.
Right. Right.
And you mentioned efficiency earlier.
Yeah.
Perhaps this is where the water metaphor can be really illuminating.
Oh, so.
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Water never wastes energy,
Oh,
fighting against the natural order of things.
okay.
It flows effortlessly, finding the path of least resistance.
Right.
Yet it's incredibly powerful in its persistence.
Okay.
It embodies that perfect balance
Okay.
of yin and yang.
Okay.
Right.
Yielding and strong.
Okay.
Adaptable and persistent.
Yeah. So being like water
Yeah.
isn't about being passive,
Yeah.
but about discerning when to act, when to let go,
Yeah.
when to push forward, when to adapt.
No.
It's about aligning our efforts with the natural flow of events.
Yes, precisely.
Okay.
And that kind of effortless action often leads to greater efficiency.
Right.
Because we're no longer wasting energy
Yeah.
on resistance and struggle.
And that leads perfectly into the passages about leadership.
Okay. Yeah.
Leading without controlling.
Right.
Serving without seeking recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Humility over pride.
Yeah.
That's not exactly a conventional model, is it?
It's a radical model, really.
Yeah.
The Dao De Jing suggests that a true leader doesn't impose their will,
Okay.
but rather guides and nurtures,
Okay.
creating the conditions for others to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
They lead by example,
Okay.
embodying the principles they espouse. What kind of leader does that conjure up for you?
Hmm.
How does that compare to leaders you've encountered?
Well, it's a leader who understands that their power
Okay.
lies in empowering others,
Okay.
not in dominance.
Mm-hmm.
They're less concerned with outward validation
Right.
and more focused on the well-being of the whole,
Okay.
much like the good traveler who leaves no tracks
Okay.
and the good speaker who speaks without blemish, as the text describes.
Right. Right. Those are powerful examples
They are.
of leading through quiet action,
Yeah.
through the integrity of one's being,
Yes.
rather than outward show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line that really struck me.
Okay.
To love the people and govern the state, can you be without knowledge?
Wow, what a profound question.
Yeah.
It challenges us to think about leadership not just in terms of intellect or expertise,
Right.
but also compassion
Mm.
and deep understanding of the human experience.
It's interesting because we also see passages
Right.
that emphasize caution and self-awareness.
Yes.
Like the sage who is careful, like crossing a river in winter.
Yeah.
It almost feels contradictory
It does, doesn't it?
to that idea of effortless action.
Right.
Right.
And yet, perhaps they're two sides of the same coin.
Okay.
Effortless action doesn't mean recklessness,
Right.
but rather acting from a place of deep awareness,
Okay.
knowing when to move and when to pause,
Okay.
just as one would carefully navigate a frozen river.
So it's not about being passive,
No.
but about being deliberate
Right.
and attuned to the situation.
Yes.
Responding with the appropriate level of action or inaction.
Ex-
Finding that balance,
Yeah.
that middle way.
Precisely. And
Yeah.
embracing paradox,
Yeah,
which we see time and again
Yeah.
in these excerpts.
for sure.
One that stands out is, to be bent is to become straight. To be empty is to be full.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's almost like saying that by emptying ourselves
Yes.
of our preconceptions
Yeah.
and ego. We create space for something greater to emerge.
Right.
Perhaps even that wellspring of potential we were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that something greater might just be the Tao itself
Okay.
flowing through us and guiding our actions.
Right.
But of course, there's also the question of how to actually embody these principles
Right.
in our daily lives.
That's the million-dollar question.
It is, isn't it?
What's been standing out to you as potentially actionable from all of this?
Well, I think perhaps it starts with cultivating self-awareness.
Okay.
Yeah. The Tao Te Ching encourages us to know ourselves deeply,
Okay.
to recognize our strengths and weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
and to accept ourselves fully.
It sounds like it starts with a lot of inner work,
It does.
a willingness to look inward
Yeah.
and confront our own shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Only then can we really move through the world
Right.
with greater clarity
Yes.
and purpose.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that inner work, it's an ongoing process.
A journey of continual self-discovery
Mhm.
and refinement
Right.
from that place of self-awareness.
Okay.
We can then act in the world with greater clarity and purpose.
Okay.
There's a passage that speaks to this.
Okay.
Create and nurture, but do not own. Do things, but do not claim credit. Lead, but do not control.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's deep.
it is, isn't it?
It suggests that true leadership, it isn't about ego
Right.
or personal gain,
No.
but about selfless service, about creating something larger than ourselves.
Yes.
And allowing it to flourish without clinging to control.
Yes. It all circles back to the concept of wu-wei,
Okay.
achieving by not striving,
Right.
allowing things to unfold naturally rather than trying to force our will.
That doesn't mean we just sit back and do nothing, though.
Right, not at all.
Yeah.
It's about acting from a place of alignment with the Tao,
Okay.
of allowing our actions to flow effortlessly from a deeper understanding of the natural order.
Finding that sweet spot between action and inaction,
Okay.
effort and surrender, it's a practice.
So how do we find that sweet spot?
Well, you know,
Yeah.
the Tao Te Ching suggests starting with small steps,
Okay.
being more mindful of our actions
Sure.
and motivations,
Okay.
cultivating virtue
Okay.
by being kind to those who are kind
Right.
and kind to those who are unkind.
That's a powerful thought.
It is, yeah.
It's about extending kindness to everyone,
Yes.
regardless of their actions.
Exactly.
Choosing compassion over judgment, even when it's challenging.
Especially when it's challenging, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a radical idea
Yeah.
that aligns with that central principle of balance,
Right.
finding harmony within ourselves
Yeah.
and extending that harmony outward to the world.
Yeah. And it all ties back to leadership.
It does, doesn't it?
Right. So valuing humility over pride,
Mm-hmm.
serving without seeking recognition.
Yeah,
It's a different way of looking at leadership
it is.
than what we typically see.
It's a whole other paradigm.
Yeah, this message is so relevant,
It is.
especially today, when we're constantly bombarded
Yeah,
with messages about competition
right.
and striving for success.
Yes, and the Tao Te Ching offers a counterpoint to
Okay.
that,
Okay.
reminding us that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements,
Right.
but from inner peace and alignment with the Tao.
It's about finding that balance between ambition and contentment, striving for our goals while accepting what is.
Exactly. Acceptance doesn't mean complacency,
Right.
but finding peace in the present moment while moving forward with purpose and intention.
The Tao Te Ching is full of such wisdom,
It really is.
ready to be uncovered
Yeah.
and applied to our lives.
Absolutely.
It's a text that reveals new layers of meaning
For sure.
with each reading.
Every time.
So as we near the end of our deep dive here,
Okay.
what will you carry with you from this exploration?
That's a good question. I keep coming back to the image of the sage as a vessel,
Okay.
empty yet full of potential.
Okay.
A reminder that true leadership comes from a place of humility and openness,
Yeah.
a willingness to be a conduit for something greater than ourselves.
That's beautiful. And for me, it's that idea of being like water.
Ooh, I like that one.
Right. Adaptable, persistent,
Yeah,
in tune with the natural flow of things.
it's a beautiful metaphor.
This deep dive has given us so much to ponder.
It has. And sometimes the most profound insights come from simply allowing the wisdom to sit with us,
Great.
like a cup of tea steeping in our minds.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Until next time on The Deep Dive.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.